Well, this confirms it. The vampire genre is not completely dead. Abigail is a brand new 2024 horror film directed by Matt Bettinelli-Olpin and Tyler Gillette, starring Melissa Barrera, Dan Stevens, Kevin Durand, and Alicia Ware. And yeah, I'm a huge fan of Radio Silence. I loved Ready or Not. I loved Scream 5. Scream 6 was not terrible. So, yeah, the trailer for this first came out, I was sold automatically just from the creative team and the big cast that they had. So, let's go ahead and start this review off with the good. And there is a lot to love about this movie. First, the cast is fantastic. Everybody gets a chance to shine. First of all, you got Melissa Barrera as the main character in this movie, and she's great. I loved her in The Heights. I loved her in Scream 5 and 6, and this is probably my favorite performance from her. I love the backstory her character has and the arc she goes through in the movie. She's a fantastic character, great final girl, loved her here. And then you have Dan Stevens in this movie, and he is just as great as Dan Stevens always is. He was the best part in Godzilla X Kong, and he was damn near the best part in this movie as well. Spoilers are free game in my opinion. This movie's been out for more than 2 weeks. There's a part at the end of this movie where he goes full psychopath, full evil, and he's just having a blast with it. And I loved his performance in the third act of this movie. I loved his performance at the beginning of the movie where he's kind of the straight face of the group, where he's really the only one with common sense outside of Melissa Barrera. And I just love his performance throughout the movie. He's fantastic here. And then you got Catherine Newton. She's always a welcome sight. She doesn't really bring much new to this movie that we haven't already seen, but she's great as Catherine Newton. Always is. So, great to see her here. And then you got Angus Cloud as well. Rest his soul. I've never seen Euphoria. I will probably never see Euphoria. But he was great here. For the short screen time that he had, he was great here. And I feel like this could have very well been a breakout role for him had he not unfortunately passed. Great talent, and it's sad that he's no longer with us. And then you have the final member of the group, you have Kevin Durand. And this is just an actor that really deserves way more credit than he gets because he is always such a fun screen presence. And this movie is no exception whatsoever. I love Kevin Durand in this movie. He's such a big, lovable goofball, and I just love that about his character. He's great here. And finally, the main performance I really want to talk about, you have Alicia Weir as Abigail. And I think this is her first movie. I could be wrong, but I believe this is her first movie. And she is so damn good here. I love the way she plays the character of Abigail. She can go from adorable in one scene to absolutely terrifying in the next scene. She is just fantastic here. I'm really excited to see where her career goes if she continues acting. And honestly, I kind of hope that they make sequels to this just so we can get more of her as Abigail. She's great here. I think that this is a great breakout role for her, and she's got a very promising career ahead of her. Now, outside of the acting, you get a fantastic story. You get this group of criminals. They kidnap this girl, and she turns out to be a vampire, and chaos ensues. They're locked inside this house. It's such a good time. And there's just so much great stuff that they play off of in this movie. You go through the list of vampires' weaknesses, they play off of that very well. and the action sets are fantastic. You get a great atmosphere with the house that they're in. It's just such a fun time. And there's even some callbacks to other Radio Silence movies, specifically Ready or Not. There's a phonograph in the movie that looks a lot like the phonograph from Ready or Not. If you've seen Ready or Not, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, just a lot of great Easter eggs here, and the soundtrack and score are absolutely killer. Just loved all that in this movie. And the editing and the gore especially. You go to a horror movie for some gore, you're gonna get a lot of gore in this movie. It's very satisfying for gore hounds such as myself and plenty of others as well. And that's about all for the good. On to the bad, and there's just one thing in this movie, and it's the handling of the arrival of Dracula at the end of this movie. Like I said, spoilers are free game, and anybody who is anybody knows that this movie was supposed to be an adaptation of Dracula's daughter. And I do feel like the arrival of Dracula at the end of this movie was a little bit shoehorned. I do like the fact that they got Matthew Good to play the character. He's a very underrated actor. Maybe with a sequel we'll see more of this specific version of Dracula, but right now I'm a little underwhelmed with how they handled Dracula. Maybe they'll make a sequel, do more, but that's about all for the bad. On to the final thoughts. I loved Abigail. It has been a rough year for horror fans, to say the least. I think the only horror movies I've genuinely loved so far are Late Night with the Devil, The First Omen, and now Abigail. There's 3 horror movies I've genuinely loved this year, but either way, Abigail is a bloody, fun movie. It's a great comeback for vampire films, and I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. So that was my thoughts on Abigail. Have you seen this movie yet? Let me know down in the comments what you thought about it if you have seen it. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.